All right, welcome back. I want to get back to our discussion. Dr. Shane, you didn't get a chance to answer the question. Could you just answer it?
Yeah, I think it's essential that we take a village approach to raise our children. When you look at marriage, back in 1966, we had 88% of people being born in two-parent families. As of 2006, that number has dropped to 33%, which is phenomenal drop, but we're no longer having a two-family system. You just don't have two parents anymore. I know for myself, there were a lot of outside influences. One of my mother's greatest wisdom was she always put us in programs, like Upward Bound program, the Boys Club, the YMCI. And also by having a blended family, a lot of them were my business mentors and mentors in life. So I think that's essential.
Well, speaking on that, you were saying, that how, it was 80% back in the 60s and now it's 33%. Do you think this change is more a deconstruction or an evolution of the black family?
I think it's, whether it's a deconstruction or evolution, it's something that's killing us, and it's something that we really need to look at as a culture.
It's a deconstruction.
It's definitely not a positive thing, so deconstruction is definitely the term I would use.
With all of these things, and Leon, you said you were, after 10, your parents separated, and you saw both worlds, or whatever. With all these things, there have been a lot of good people that were raised by single-parent homes, raised in single-parent homes. Most of us here have had that experience for once or for a little while at least, or something like that. I mean, do you feel that it's something that's more destructive, or it's just part of the evolution of how things are right now?
I mean, I think that you kind of need both sides. I mean, honestly.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because I think that it is kind of essential. But I mean, I think there's people that do it in spite of it. Of course, there's a lot of people that do it in spite of it. But I think that numbers-wise, I'm no expert like you guys, but I think numbers-wise, the numbers are showing that there's a need for a family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Lawrence, your mom raised you, and I mean, you don't look like an easy dude at all to deal with. I mean, I've been around you. I mean, that's just, I'm not talking privately.
I'm no dead to beach, but
yeah,
but walk in the park. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, I don't know. I think it's an evolution. If you ask me, like the reason why things are declining because of the world we live in today. I used to listen to her and my family members talk about love. When you get somebody, it's about love. But nowadays, man, love seems to be overrated, man.
Okay, so you think love, would that just go to the whole thing? Do you think love is really missing, or is it just a biochemical thing that's going on and love never really existed?
Nah.
Dr. Otis?
Let me say this. As far as if it was a deliberate, or if it was if black men were missing out of the household and it was a deliberate effect. But if we look at, if black men are not in the household, where are they?
Look, when we had this discussion, we had it on our show about Messiah X, I believe, and the question came up around there about, what's wrong with black family today in it or whatever, and it was saying, one of the guests, Trevor, said slavery. And, it was going, when I was like, that's an excuse. That's just an excuse that, some people in our community and outside our community want to use as part of it. I'm not discounting the effects over time of how slavery could have been put into a mindset of the community. I'm saying that's an excuse because, as he just said, in the 60s, we still had 80% of the households that were two-parent families. Slavery wasn't going on last time I checked. We had segregation, but we didn't have slavery.
But also the 60s didn't move as fast as it does in the millennium as well. Babies having babies now. I'm quite sure in the 60s if that happened.
There was 16-year-olds having babies back in the 60s.
But not at the rate that they're doing now, Vic. I mean, come on now. You know what I'm saying?
Vic, whether or not my parent or Lawrence's parent or all of the panelists could have a mother that could raise a successful kid without the benefit of having another parent there, doesn't mean it's to be done. No, I mean, we have to, I'm not saying you're suggesting that. Yeah, but we have to look and say, okay, how do we help those that are in that situation be more successful? But I have a practice that also specializes in ADHD. ADHD isn't treatable with one parent. They have to come to my office 2 times a week. Very difficult for a single parent, if they could afford it, to do it. It takes 2 incomes, so let's play this out in society. Studies have shown that as high as 51% nationally of people in prison have untreated ADHD and learning disabilities. Some studies as high as 70%. So I say, in terms of if you get the ideal kid, yeah, they could do very well. But if you get a trouble kid or a problem kid, the chances of them not falling outside of society's norms.
Now, Dr. Shank, can I ask you a question? Hold on. As far as that, no, my fault. Because it's,
See what I mean?
But is that the right? But it's but what you're saying as far as the jail and as far as that, but is that the fault of just having one parent in the house?
No,
I'm just asking.
ADHD is genetic. I'm not saying it is, but the inability to treat certain things.
Okay.
If everything goes well, yeah, you could do it. But when you have problems, how do you have a safety net to reel them in? Some problems are better treated with two parents.
Now, not everybody would agree that ADHD is genetic. I'm one that believes in reason and look at data, and if the data is saying that something is happening this way and that they have a gene they have identified to say that's related to a condition, the argument's over for me. But speaking on those lines and saying if we're being deconstructed, what's the cause? I happen to think it is a mindset, and I think that the mindset, the particular mindset that is most corruptive, and I know it's going to catch a lot of heat for saying this, is religion. I think religion is probably the most corruptive because there is this idea within religion that there is a acceptable form of family, which is what we call traditional, two parents married in the household, not doing all that stuff. Not taking into account all of the things that could be wrong with one of the individuals that may cause the other individual to leave. A lot of women aren't single because they just don't like men. A lot of women are single because men don't know how to treat them.
But let me respond to that. I think when you have a lot of our problems, we have a cultural war in our community against the black family. We participate in it. You don't have to go very far. You look at TVs, you look at our role models, we're not promoting marriages. Yeah. You could be a geek, and I remember this as a kid, you look at Urkel, he's not going to find anybody. Stefan will. You be a geek Asian, you be a geek Jewish person, you're going to find a mate. We've idealized or sexualized or romanticized dogs. We romanticize people that don't really commit to one person. We romanticize people because we don't have intact families where we see, wow, dad gets up every day, go to work. That ain't romantic, but it pays the bills. We don't have daddy available in a lot of cases, so we fill in the blank on what a successful partner is. And I think that's part of the cultural war that's impacting those numbers dropping like they have over the last 40 years. You got
people getting mad about, same-sex unions. Dr. Otis, I don't see a problem with it. If a child's going into a loving home, whether it's two women or two men, I don't have a problem with it. Maybe I'm not normal, and I've been called that. Don't say anything. But I don't have a problem with that. I want to know, does it still have to be man and woman forever?
Well, let's see. I am a traditionalist, meaning I am Afrocentric in my approach, and traditionally, from an African perspective, a man and woman household is what's preferred. However, I don't cast any judgment.
We don't have that luxury in our society right now, and there are viable unions. I have my own, you can have your own opinion about what you think of same-sex marriage or whatever, but I'm saying that if you have a loving household, does it count? I mean, does it even matter that it's not opposites, that it's not heterosexual, that it's homosexual? Why does that matter?
I don't think it matters from that standpoint, but if we're looking, I don't think it matters from that standpoint, but if we're talking about taking the black family further, then we're talking about reproduction, and we're talking about the survival of the black family.
I agree, but I mean, reproduction ain't the problem. We can make the kids. It's the people who actually want to love them. That's where the problem is.
And traditionally, black folks, whatever has been thrown our way, whether it's two-parent family, one-parent families, we have made the best of whatever has been thrown our way. But I have to agree with Dr. Shane here. If you look at the numbers and you look at the 60s, after segregation, you have I think black families wanting or trying to be more like white families.
Right. Well, I know Lawrence want to jump in here, and I want to continue this conversation. And we will in just about 30 seconds. Don't go anywhere with P.O.V. with Vic Christian.
That's a real